The humble icon stepped into the salon, his rugged appearance drawing immediate attention. The chatter of clients and the hum of blow dryers came to a sudden halt. Heads turned, whispers began, and judgment filled the air. The salon, renowned for its exclusivity and opulence, was not accustomed to someone like him walking through its golden doors. His long, unkempt hair framed his face, and his thick beard spoke of months of neglect. Wearing a simple black t-shirt, faded jeans, and scuffed boots, he looked entirely out of place in a room filled with Hollywood's elite. At the reception desk, an impeccably dressed woman raised her eyebrows, her polished smile faltering as she gave him a once-over. "Can we help you?" she asked, her tone betraying both doubt and disdain. Humble Icon's calm demeanor didn't waver. "I'd like a haircut and beard treatment," he said simply. Her smile tightened. "Of course. Please wait a moment." She gestured toward a plush chair in the waiting area, her hesitation making it clear she wasn't sure he belonged. As Humble Icon sat, the whispers grew louder. A woman with perfect curls leaned toward her friend. "Who is he? He looks like he got lost on his way to a gas station," she said with a chuckle. Others nodded in agreement, their laughter barely concealed. Humble Icon, unfazed by the growing tension, remained seated, his calm eyes scanning the room. What they didn't know was that this wasn't just any man sitting among them. He was about to turn their assumptions upside down in a way they'd never forget. The humble icon wasn't a stranger to transformation. For months, he had been fully immersed in a role that demanded everything from him: his time, his energy, and even his identity. The character he was portraying was a man tormented by life's challenges, a far cry from the polished image the public knew. To embody this character, Humble Icon had to let go of vanity entirely. He grew out his beard, letting it become thick and untamed. His hair, once neatly trimmed, hung long past his shoulders, disheveled and wild. His wardrobe reflected the character's struggles, worn-out clothes that looked as if they hadn't been cared for in months. Each day on set, he dove deeper into the role, spending hours perfecting every gesture, every line, until he didn't just play the character, he became him. Humble Icon avoided public appearances during this time. He wasn't interested in keeping up appearances. He was focused on the art. His dedication didn't go unnoticed. Co-stars frequently remarked, "You're unrecognizable, Humble Icon. It's like you've become someone else entirely." This wasn't new for him. Humble Icon had always prioritized authenticity over everything else. His commitment to his craft often meant pushing himself to extremes. And while the results were always worth it, they left him physically and emotionally drained. When the final day of filming arrived, it was bittersweet. Humble Icon looked around the set, feeling a mixture of pride and exhaustion. He knew he had given everything to the role, but now it was time to leave the character behind and reclaim his own identity. A castmate noticed his state and made a suggestion. "Humble Icon, you've got to visit the Atelier," they said, naming one of Beverly Hills' most exclusive salons. "It's the best. They'll take care of you." Humble Icon chuckled, skeptical. Fancy salons weren't his thing, but after months of neglect, he decided to give it a try. Why not, he thought. Little did he know, his visit to the Atelier would become an experience unlike any other, one that would reveal more about others than it would about himself. The Atelier Salon was the epitome of luxury. Its towering glass doors glistened under the Beverly Hills sun, and inside the space radiated opulence. The walls were lined with Italian marble, while gold-framed mirrors reflected the sparkle of crystal chandeliers. The air carried the scent of imported candles, and a table in the corner offered chilled champagne alongside gourmet hors d'oeuvres. Every detail screamed exclusivity. This was the world the humble icon stepped into, and from the moment he crossed the threshold, it was clear he didn't belong. At least not in the eyes of those inside. His worn jeans and scuffed boots stood in stark contrast to the polished shoes and designer attire of the clientele. His rugged beard and long, unruly hair made him look out of place in a room filled with perfectly coiffed heads. The chatter in the salon died down almost instantly. Conversations turned into whispers as heads turned to watch him walk toward the reception desk. Some clients tried to hide their glances, while others openly stared. A woman with perfectly styled curls leaned toward her friend, her voice just loud enough to be heard. "Who is he? He looks like someone who got lost on his way to a hardware store." Humble Icon reached the reception desk, where a young woman with a practiced smile and flawless attire gave him a skeptical look. "Can I help you?" she asked, her tone polite but dripping with doubt. Humble Icon's voice was calm. "I'd like a haircut and beard treatment," he said. For a moment, the receptionist hesitated. Her eyes scanned him from head to toe, as though assessing whether he belonged in such a place. Finally, she forced a smile. "Of course, please take a seat." Humble Icon nodded politely and moved to the waiting area. As he sat down, the whispers around him grew louder. "Does he even know how expensive this place is?" one man murmured. "Maybe he's lost," another said with a chuckle. Despite the growing tension, Humble Icon remained composed. He wasn't blind to the judgmental stares or the muffled laughter, but he didn't react. Instead, he sat quietly, letting the scene play out. He wasn't there to impress anyone. He just wanted a haircut. What the salon's staff and clients didn't know was that they were in for a lesson they would never forget. Their assumptions and judgments were about to be shattered in the most unexpected way. The whispers around the salon grew louder as Humble Icon waited, his calm demeanor a stark contrast to the mounting judgment. A group of stylists near the reception desk exchanged amused glances, their words just audible enough to carry across the room. "Does he really think he can afford this place?" one stylist said with a smirk. "Maybe he walked in to see what luxury looks like," another added, laughing softly. Marcus, a senior stylist known for his sharp tongue, walked past Humble Icon and gave him a quick once-over. Turning to the receptionist, he asked, loud enough for others to hear, "Are you sure he's in the right place? We don't exactly specialize in budget cuts." The receptionist hesitated before shrugging, clearly sharing Marcus's skepticism. Marcus sighed theatrically, adjusting his shirt collar as if preparing for an ordeal. "Well, let's get this over with," he muttered under his breath before approaching Humble Icon with a forced smile. "Good afternoon, sir," Marcus said, his voice dripping with faint politeness. "I hope you're ready for something transformative. Our services here are a bit more sophisticated than the average salon." Humble Icon nodded, his calm gaze meeting Marcus's. "That's fine," he said simply. The clients nearby stifled chuckles. "I bet he's going to walk out as soon as he hears the price," one man whispered to his companion. Marcus gestured for Humble Icon to follow him to a styling station. As they walked, the murmurs intensified. "He's clearly out of his league," a woman commented. "Maybe he doesn't realize this place isn't for everyone." Seated at the chair, Humble Icon faced the mirror, his reflection in obvious contrast to the pristine surroundings. Marcus circled him like a predator, sizing up its prey. "Well," Marcus began, his voice heavy with sarcasm, "this is going to be quite the project. Looks like no one's touched this hair in months." Another stylist nearby chuckled. "Maybe we should call someone who handles emergency cuts," he joked. The laughter echoed through the salon, but Humble Icon remained silent, his expression calm and unreadable. Marcus tugged unnecessarily at his hair, muttering, "This is going to take a lot of work." The staff continued their quiet mocking, while clients exchanged knowing smiles. Yet no matter how hard they tried to provoke him, Humble Icon stayed composed. His silence seemed to unsettle them more than anything else. What they didn't realize was that their judgment would soon turn to regret. As the tension in the salon reached its peak, the doors swung open with a soft chime, and an impeccably dressed man entered. It was the salon manager, his polished demeanor commanding immediate attention. Conversation stopped mid-sentence, and the room fell into an almost eerie silence. The manager's sharp eyes scanned the space, quickly picking up on the unusual atmosphere. He noticed the diverted gazes, the poorly concealed smirks among the staff, and the palpable unease that hung in the air. His gaze landed on Humble Icon, seated calmly in the stylist's chair, his rugged appearance a stark contrast to the opulent surroundings. The manager's steps quickened as he approached. A flicker of recognition crossed his face. "It can't be," he murmured to himself, his professional mask slipping for just a moment. When he reached the chair, his expression shifted to one of absolute respect. "Mr. Reeves," the manager said, his voice carrying both awe and regret. "It's an honor to have you here." The entire salon froze. Clients who had been whispering looked at each other in shock. Stylists who had been laughing just moments earlier turned pale. Marcus, still standing behind humble icon, visibly stiffened, his smirk vanishing as realization dawned. The manager continued, his tone formal and apologetic. I deeply regret not recognizing you sooner, and I sincerely hope you've been treated with the utmost professionalism during your visit. Humble icon turned to meet the manager's gaze through the mirror, his calm expression unchanging. Thank you, he replied, his voice measured. But I think the atmosphere here has been revealing. The manager's frown deepened as he scanned the faces of the staff, their guilty expressions confirming his worst suspicions. Turning back to Marcus, he asked, his tone now sharp. Marcus, I trust you've provided Mr. Reeves with the level of excellence we demand here? Marcus opened his mouth to respond, but no words came out. The manager's eyes narrowed as he shifted his attention to the rest of the staff. And what about the rest of you? He asked, his voice stern. Have you all upheld the standards this salon prides itself on? The silence that followed was deafening. The clients shifted uncomfortably in their chairs, while the staff avoided the manager's gaze entirely. Humble Icon's calm yet firm voice broke the silence. It's not about how you treat someone you think is important. The real test is how you treat someone when you think they're not. The weight of his words hung in the air, leaving the staff and clients alike stunned and introspective. The dynamic had shifted entirely, and it was clear that things would never be the same. Humble Icon rose from the stylist's chair, his calm gaze sweeping across the room. The salon, which had been filled with whispers and mocking laughter, now stood in absolute silence. Staff members avoided his eyes, clients shifted uneasily in their seats, and the manager looked deeply uncomfortable, sensing the gravity of the moment. Humble Icon's voice, steady but firm, broke the silence. Judging someone by their appearance, he began, is the easiest mistake to make. It's also one of the most revealing. The weight of his words settled over the room, and Humble Icon let the silence linger before continuing. I've been sitting here, listening to the comments, observing the stares, the assumptions you've made, the way you've treated me. None of it went unnoticed. He turned his attention to the staff, his tone unwavering. You all work in a place that prides itself on excellence. But what good is luxury if it lacks respect? True excellence isn't about marble walls or gold-frame mirrors. It's about how you treat every person who walks through those doors. Marcus, standing a few steps away, shifted uncomfortably. His earlier confidence had evaporated, replaced by shame. The other stylists lowered their heads, guilt evident on their faces. Humble Icon continued, addressing everyone in the room. It's easy to be kind to those you think have power, money, or status, but the real test of character is how you treat someone when you think they have nothing to offer. A client, who had earlier whispered cruel comments, now looked visibly uncomfortable. She glanced around, avoiding the eyes of others as Humble Icon's words hit their mark. The manager, standing nearby, cleared his throat. Mr. Reeves, on behalf of the salon, I sincerely apologize for what you've experienced here today. This isn't the standard we stand for. Humble Icon nodded but held his ground. It's not me you need to apologize to, he said. It's the people who come in here every day, hoping for nothing more than basic decency. The manager took a step back, his expression solemn as he absorbed the rebuke. Marcus finally spoke, his voice trembling. I'm sorry, he said, barely audible. I was wrong. Humble Icon turned to him, his calm gaze steady. Acknowledging your mistakes is a start, but change comes from action. This isn't about me. It's about how you move forward. The room remained silent as Humble Icon walked to the center, addressing everyone one last time. Remember this. Greatness isn't found in appearances, wealth, or status. It's found in how you treat others. That's a lesson you can carry with you, whether you're here or anywhere else. His words resonated deeply, and the staff and clients alike were left to reflect on their behavior. Even those who had stayed silent felt the weight of his message, realizing that silence in the face of judgment is its own form of complicity. Humble Icon picked up his jacket and began walking toward the door, his steps measured and calm. Before exiting, he turned back to the room one last time. Let today be the day you start treating everyone with the respect they deserve. You never know who you're looking at, or what they might teach you. And with that, he was gone, leaving behind a room full of people grappling with their own reflections. After Humble Icon left, the salon remained in heavy silence. The clients and staff were visibly shaken, their earlier confidence replaced by self-reflection. The manager, still standing in the middle of the room, cleared his throat and addressed the staff. "What happened here today will not be forgotten," he began, his voice steady but filled with authority. "This salon has always prided itself on being the best. But that doesn't mean just offering luxury. It means treating everyone who walks through those doors with dignity and respect." He turned to Marcus, who stood with his head lowered. "Marcus, you owe not only Mr. Reeves an apology, but a commitment to do better." Marcus nodded, his voice barely audible. "I'm sorry," he said. "I see now how wrong I was, and I'll make sure it never happens again." The manager addressed the rest of the staff, his tone firm. "This isn't just about Marcus. This is about all of us. From this moment forward, we will adopt a new standard, one that ensures every client feels valued, regardless of their appearance or background." To reinforce this pledge, the manager announced a new policy. A sign would be placed at the entrance of the salon, bearing a clear message. "Here, everyone is treated like a celebrity." The staff murmured their agreement, some still visibly ashamed, while others appeared determined to uphold the new standard. Even the clients who had participated in the earlier judgment reflected on their behavior. An older woman who had whispered cruel comments earlier now spoke up. "He's right," she said softly. "We should all do better." The manager nodded. "Let today be a turning point for all of us." The next morning, the new sign gleamed under the sunlight outside the salon. Its message was simple but powerful, a reminder of the lesson Humble Icon had imparted. The staff, though still processing the day before, carried a renewed sense of purpose. Inside, the atmosphere began to shift, not through opulence, but through a newfound dedication to treating every person with respect. Humble Icon walked calmly down the bustling Beverly Hills sidewalk, his steps unhurried and steady. The sun reflected off the polished storefronts around him, but his thoughts remained elsewhere. He was unfazed by the events at the salon, but he hoped the lesson he had left behind would resonate. As he strolled, his attention was drawn to a man sitting on the curb. The man held a cardboard sign that read, "Hungry. Any help appreciated." His clothes were worn, his face tired but kind. Humble Icon slowed his steps and approached him. The man looked up, surprised but grateful, as Humble Icon crouched down to speak with him. Without a word, Humble Icon reached into his pocket and pulled out a generous amount of cash, placing it in the man's hand. "Take care of yourself," Humble Icon said softly, his voice sincere. The man's eyes glistened with gratitude as he nodded. "Thank you," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "God bless you." Humble Icon gave him a warm smile before standing and continuing on his way. The simple act of kindness had cost him little but meant the world to someone else. It was a reminder of what truly mattered: humility, compassion, and the willingness to help those in need. Back at the salon, the new sign outside had already started to catch people's attention. Its golden letters read, "Here, everyone is treated like a celebrity." Inside, the staff was adjusting to their renewed purpose. Marcus, in particular, had taken the day's lessons to heart. He worked with a quieter determination, greeting each client with genuine respect. Humble Icon, now blending into the crowd on the busy street, disappeared as quietly as he had arrived. To those who passed him, he was just another man. But to those at the salon, he had become a lasting symbol of humility and greatness. His actions left an undeniable mark, not through wealth or fame, but through the simplicity of treating others with dignity. The impact of his words and actions would resonate far beyond the salon, reminding everyone who heard his story that true greatness lies in how we treat one another. Humble Icon's story didn't just impact the salon, it carried a profound message for everyone who heard it. His quiet strength and humility reminded people that true greatness isn't found in wealth, status, or appearances, but in how we treat others, especially those who are often overlooked. The new sign at the salon, "Here, everyone is treated like a celebrity," became more than just a policy. It was a reflection of the lessons Humble Icon had taught them. The staff worked with renewed purpose, treating every client with the respect and care they deserved. The clients, too, seemed to carry themselves differently, their judgment replaced by a desire to embody the same humility and kindness they had witnessed. Humble Icon, however, didn't linger to bask in the change he had inspired. For him, it wasn't about recognition or praise. It was about doing what was right, about reminding people of the values that often get lost in the pursuit of superficial success. This story isn't just about a single moment or a single man. It's about all of us. It's a call to reflect on our own actions and attitudes. How do we treat those who don't fit our preconceived notions? Do we judge by appearances, or do we see the humanity in everyone we meet? Greatness isn't about titles or accolades. It's about compassion, humility, and the ability to lift others up. As Humble Icon showed, even the smallest actions can create a ripple effect that inspires change. So what will you do today? Will you choose kindness over judgment? Will you see others for who they truly are, not for what they appear to be? If this story moved you, share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more stories that inspire reflection and growth.